In a city that never stops talking, one young man grew up in silence. His name was Ethan Ward, born in Leeds, the youngest of 3 boys. His mum says she knew something was different when he didn't turn toward her voice. By the time he was 6, doctors confirmed it's severe hearing loss. For his parents, it felt like the world had gone quiet. For Ethan, it had never been loud to begin with. In classrooms full of noise, Ethan was invisible. The jokes, the whispers, the laughter, they passed through him like air. He learned early that silence can be lonely. He'd sit in the back row, sketching faces, imagining the jokes he couldn't quite catch. At home, he filled notebooks with drawings, and later, words. One day, they became jokes. By secondary school, the teasing began. Not cruel at first, just thoughtless. Kids copying his voice, waving their hands. Robot voice, they called him. He never fought back, he wrote it all down instead. Humor became his armor. Every line he wrote was a shield against the noise. His parents did what they could. Extra lessons, speech therapy, lip reading practice. But there are some silences no one can fill. At 18, Ethan left home for university. A fresh start, new people, a chance to be seen for who he was, not what he couldn't hear. His flatmates loved him instantly, his dry humor, his deadpan expressions. But in lectures, he stayed quiet. In pubs, he smiled and nodded through conversations that blurred into sound. At night, he'd sit in his small student room, scrolling through clips of comedians. Ricky Gervais, James Acaster, Sarah Millican. He didn't just watch them, he studied them. The rhythm, the timing, the courage. He wanted that. One evening, over takeaway pizza, his flatmate Lucy said, "You've got this wicked sense of humor, you know. You should try stand-up." Ethan laughed. "Yeah, right. They wouldn't understand me. Maybe that's why you should do it," she replied. She grabbed her phone, typed something, and grinned. "Done. Signed you up. Thursday night. Campus bar." He froze. Then he laughed again, nervously. But later that night, lying in bed, his mind replayed her words over and over. He was terrified, but also curious. For the first time, he wanted to be heard. Thursday came. A dimly lit student bar. The low hum of chatter. Ethan stood behind the microphone. He couldn't hear the audience's whispers, only the thud of his own heartbeat. He signed his first joke before saying it. "People ask if being deaf means I can't hear insults. I can, they're just funnier when you read them." A pause. Then laughter erupted. Real, warm, surprised laughter. In that moment, Ethan wasn't the deaf kid. He was the comedian. Week after week, he came back. His jokes about student life, awkward dates, and British weather mixed with self-deprecating wit about deafness. "I went on a date once," he said on stage. "She said she loved a good listener. I said, we're off to a bad start." The room exploded with laughter. Each laugh was a victory. But the journey wasn't easy. Some nights were brutal. Once, during a gig at a noisy pub, a heckler shouted something he couldn't understand. The crowd laughed for the wrong reason. Ethan froze. That silence stung. He left quietly, walking home in the rain, doubting himself. But later that night, scrolling through his phone, he saw messages from strangers, students, parents, even another deaf performer thanking him, telling him he'd made them feel seen. That was enough to make him go back. He started filming his sets, adding captions, posting them online. One video, "What It's Like Being Deaf in a Noisy Pub," went viral overnight. 500,000 views by morning. The comments poured in. "This is brilliant. Legend." I laughed and cried. For the first time, Ethan's silence was making noise across the internet. By 23, he'd moved to London. Open mic nights in Camden, Soho, Hackney. Every weekend, he was performing. Every month, the rooms got bigger, but something inside him had shifted. It wasn't just about laughs anymore. It was about connection. He began mentoring deaf teenagers at a community center, teaching them how to use humor as confidence. "You don't need to hear laughter to feel it," he told them. "You just need to believe someone's listening." They practiced routines, laughed through mistakes, learned to own their stories. One evening, Ethan stood backstage at his biggest show yet, sold out. The front row filled with the very teens he'd mentored. The lights dimmed. He walked onto the stage, signed and spoke his first line. "When I started, people said stand-up wasn't for me. They were right. I don't stand up for applause. I stand up because I can." The crowd rose to their feet. Applause thundered through the room. Ethan smiled, feeling every vibration through the stage. He didn't need to hear it. He could feel it. That night, walking home through London's glowing streets, he thought about how far he'd come from the boy who couldn't follow conversations to the man who could move a room without sound. In a country where so many feel unheard, one young man taught us that voice isn't just sound, it's courage. The courage to stand up, to speak your truth, and to laugh while you do it. Ethan Ward found his voice not through hearing, but through humor, through the power to connect hearts, one laugh at a time. In every corner of the UK, there are stories like Ethan's stories, of people who refuse to be defined by silence, struggle, or circumstance. His laughter reminds us of something powerful. You don't have to hear to be heard. You just have to keep speaking in your own way. If stories like Ethan's move you, stories of ordinary people finding extraordinary courage, subscribe to our channel and join us as we share more voices that deserve to be heard.